because these people are ideologically captured. Speaking of ideologically captured, how's
Sick.
that for a segue? This from Juno News, an exclusive. Nova Scotia confirms it is insane. It funds and performs genital surgeries for teens. Exclusive documents reveal that doctors in Nova Scotia greenlit 5 surgeries to create artificial vaginas for patients listed as under 19 years old, which is the age of majority there. It's 18 here in God's country. So, citing privacy laws, of course, I don't know. I don't want to know who these people are, but I would love to know who. Once again, the Mengelas are out. I'd love to know who they are. Uh, they refuse to reveal whether any of the patients were minors, but acknowledge that Nova Scotia does fund surgeries for minors as of this year, as per policy and procedures. Um, and then it goes on to detail how what they actually do. The Citizens Alliance of Nova Scotia provided True North with demographic data obtained through Freedom of Information requests. The data shows age breakdowns. You know, we should do this for Saskatchewan.
Let's do
Ma'am.
it. Let's
Okay.
do it. Okay, we're just going to
Okay.
replicate this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just making a note so that I can
Yeah. Because
send a research note.
viewers, as we all know, Alberta is the only province in the nation that has prohibited these kinds of experimental butchery on children as it pertains to transgender healthcare. And
Healthcare.
I'd be fascinated to learn how this is happening in other provinces. And quick shout out to Melanie Bennett. She is one of our dear friends here, me and Sheila Gunn Reid. She's one of our dear
Yep.
friends. And she is doing some super heavy lifting on these issues in Canada. She is so talented and so dedicated. You should go see more of her work at Juno News. But what on earth are we doing, Canada? Um, Pulling these experimental and non-evidence based butchery surgeries on little kids. These
Yeah.
are under 19. These kids are going to be in the medical pipeline for the rest of their
Yeah.
lives. What are we doing? And as a matter of fact, the statistics show that the regret after having these surgeries doesn't hit until about 7 years later. But when it does, that is when transitioners are at their highest risk of suicide because they realize after 7 years that they've been
Yeah.
sold a bill of goods that they can absolutely not cash, that they are on this pipeline for the rest of their lives, that they've given up their sexual function, their reproductive function, and that they will never have a gratifying sex life. Why? Because we are chopping the healthy parts off of children in Canada. I will just go out on a crazy wide limb here and say people that are participating in this butchery should be imprisoned. This
Completely.
is not healthcare. This is butchery. This is craziness. I can't believe that this is happening.
Yeah. And I think it's only going to get worse because again, Melanie Bennett uh just doing the heavy lifting on this. We know a lot of this indoctrination comes from activist teachers in the classroom,
Oh, does it? It starts there with social
right?
transition.
And then they say,
Because medical transit, like it's part of a pipeline, right?
right.
And so you start with the social transition. This is name changes, pronoun changes, gender and diversity clubs or gender and sexuality clubs in schools, GSAs, GDAs. Then when you reach the end of your social transition, well, then you're pipelined off to the medical community who welcomes you with open arms. Sheila Gunn Reid and this must have been, oh, Sheila, it's got to be going on 2 years now. We were looking into WPATH, the World Professional
Mhm.
Association of Transgender Healthcare. If you go to their website and you look up their membership list, Canada has thousands of WPATH members. These are counselors, these are nurses, these are endocrinologists that manage all the hormone levels, the cross sex, excuse me, wrong sex hormone levels. Then you have plastic surgeons, you have general surgeons, you have nurses, there is this huge network of health professionals, aka butchers,
Yeah.
who are doing this to Canada's children. You can see a full list of who's practicing in your province on the WPATH website by going to the membership section of their website. Saskatchewan has 9 full-time
Ugh,
members. Alberta has something, I want to say it was just under 50
too
full-time
many,
members.
too many.
But thank goodness we have Premier Danielle Smith that put a stop to those people practicing their experimental and non-evidence based butchery on
Yeah.
children in Alberta. Thank God we have Danielle Smith to do that. But why this is being allowed to happen in Canada when all of Europe has backed off, all of Europe has backed off. The UK, France, Denmark, Switzerland, all of the United States, all of them are backing away from this because they are acknowledging what an insane set of circumstances had to happen to let this become allowable. This is not healthcare. This is not healthcare.
No, it's damaging an entire generation of children. It is
Oh,
the satanic panic of our time, I believe. Melanie Bennett sort of shows how this stuff starts. She's got a recording um, from I forget what it is, the Elementary Educators Union, anyways, in
yeah,
Ontario. Local President Rob Hammond explaining how a coalition of teachers' unions worked together to remove conservative trustees and have them replaced with union-favored
yep,
NDP trustees. This is uh, electoral meddling, and these are your teachers ganging up against the will of the parents because the trustees are supposed to be your voice in the education system.
yep. And they are completely captured.
And
Absolutely the most woke, insane, lunatic, left captured lunatics that are sitting on school boards in Canada. And this absolutely happened in the Saskatchewan municipal election this last November. We
yep,
saw members of the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation. We saw members of QB. We saw members of all of these public sector unions handpick their preferred school board candidates and make sure they were elected. This is happening across the country of Canada. This absolute election interference. This is what's happening. And parents cannot get a word in sideways. We are being attacked. We are being defamed. We are being slandered. And conservative governments have done nothing to stop this. I'm of two minds on this. Do conservative governments not know that this is happening,
of course
or
they know
do
because it
they?
happens to them.
But do they not know that it's happening at the school board level? Or do they know and they're just not sure how to lick it? Because in Saskatchewan, in Regina, in the municipal elections, we have actual evidence of senior educrats from Regina Public Schools going on a tour of Regina Public Schools, calling emergency staff meetings within the walls of the schools saying, we have bigoted extremist transphobe homophobes running for the school board,
Why didn't
otherwise
they
known
just
as
name you
parents.
by name?
You know, right?
Just say Lee,
Otherwise,
okay? You don't need to
but
flatter me. Just say my name.
you can just say it out loud. You just say it out loud. How, but this is unlawful election interference that conservative governments are not doing anything about. Unless what we're seeing in Canada right now is unless a school board is so financially unstable, like unless they're financially unaccountable and financially unstable and in the hole, in the red, to a point where the government is like, whoa, we got to get a handle on this. Governments do nothing. And this is what parents are saying is we need governments to intervene to make sure that this stops happening. Parents may not be attacked for their beliefs. Parents may not be attacked for running for school boards. Parents may stop this. Stop. You guys are in government.
Yep.
Do something about this craziness because it's happening across the country of Canada.
And they've got all the money to do it. These unions with their forced union dues, they extract the union dues from even the good teachers to do bad
Oh,
things.
and the good teachers are just furious about this, like absolutely furious about this. And they're also under the gun because if they say anything, Well, then they lose their jobs. The teacher unions are not
Exactly.
gonna back them up.
Exactly. Let's listen to this a quick clip of what Melanie was able to get her hands on, so you could just see how bad it is. And this is, you bet your ass, this is happening in every school board across the country.
Yep.
And now you know. So let's listen, and then we'll come back from that, and we'll hit an ad break. We're way overdue for an ad break, and I realize Olivia's like,
Mm.
Sheila, 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 Sheila. So let's do
Sorry,
that.
Olivia.
So the provincial election allowed us to try to do something. We took advantage of incentive funding from provincial. And from that, we were unsuccessful at both Nipissing and in Parry Sound Muskoka in terms of trying to get somebody other than a Tory elected. However, in that member engagement, we had our members out knocking on doors and campaigning. We were using our Facebook page. We were telling people who, we were encouraging. We weren't endorsing anybody, but we were encouraging people. Now, we might have not been successful there, but it paid dividends when we got to the municipal elections because we got the NDP candidate to actually run as one of the trustees. And so our success there was we went back to our fourth block, and we had 2 fourth block events, one in North Bay, one in Parry Sound, where we invited, it was called Meet the Trustees, and we had all the trustees were invited. We had
This happened in
OSSTF,
Regina.
the OTs, and also our retired teachers were invited as well. And we had an opportunity, we had good spread of food, we had live music, we gave the trustees an opportunity to speak for 2 minutes and then engage with us afterwards. The result was we got rid of the 2 card-carrying Tory members. One was the chair, one was the vice chair. They are no longer trustees.
Insane.
And that it was a huge success for us. And the NDP candidate, is now the chairman of the Near North District School Board Trustees.
Imagine that. Imagine public sector unions interfering in municipal elections to get their little friends, their little NDP aligned friends onto local school boards. Imagine that. Who could have seen this coming other than us who were telling the world in the municipal election, this is happening. Who's going to do something about this? Anyone? Is anyone going to do something about this? Wild.
You know what's funny? In all of that, they never actually gave any thought to the best interest of the education of those kids. All they cared about was, do we get our guys elected?
Yes.
Those could have been NDP criminals, NDP weirdos, but I repeat myself.
Guaranteed they're weirdos. If they're NDP, they're
Right.
weird.
Right.
If they're
Like
NDP aligned, they're weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like saying liberal mainstream media journalist. Yeah, I get it. It's the same thing. But they didn't express any concern about the right person being right for the job. They just wanted to get their team elected no matter the will of the parents.
Yep.
And no matter the outcomes for the kids.
Well,
Says it all.
and I think that we really have to think about municipal elections and especially school board elections in a different way in Canada now that we know that this is happening. Because where you have activist boards, radical left-wing activist boards, like you have right here in Regina, Saskatchewan, and across the country, we need governments to come in and make sure that parents aren't being eviscerated by these lunatics. And by that, I mean, we may need a change, not may need, we absolutely need a change in legislation that guarantees parental involvement and participation at the board level. Do I think that it's going too far to suggest that only parents should be sitting on school boards? No, I would absolutely support that. Are we still going to have to lick the public sector union interference into municipal elections? Absolutely, yes. And that's going to take governments with balls to come in where there is absolute proof of election interference and prosecute those people. Fire them and prosecute them, and you will see an end to election interference at the municipal election level. But until we have governments that are going to intercede on behalf of parents, parents are just going to keep getting roundhoused by these lunatics.